Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, back from almost 3 weeks on the road, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
I'd almost forgotten what you looked like.
I almost forgot what this chair felt like. I've been gone for a bit. You know what's great? The movie meetups were fantastic. Thank you to everybody again in Austin, Dallas, and Orlando, which was absolutely incredible. But Ann and I wrapped up our trip by stopping in Vegas on the way back. She got invitations to this Nick Jonas lunch where they served food at his restaurant, and then he played a few pieces from his upcoming album. It was a very small, intimate sort of thing. I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest Jonas guy in the world, but it was a really good event. Had a good time. We got home last night. Good to be back, guys. And welcome to this show where we talk about our favorite things in the world, the things that bring us joy, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. We're glad that you guys are here. Listen, we're going to be taking your live questions for those of you watching live a little bit later in the show. If you would like to send in a thought, comment, question, observation, whatever point of view about a story that we're covering or anything at all, go ahead and use the super chat feature in the live chat. Send it on in. And as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, we'll address it a little bit later in the show. All right, guys, got a lot to cover here today. So let's jump right into it, shall we? We're going to start off with this. You know, it's fair to say that I have what some might call a love-hate relationship with AMC theaters. I hate a lot of the things they do. They do, listen, a lot of really stupid things. Same time, they're still my theater of choice. As much as they make me pull my hair out sometimes, they are still my theater of choice. And I still got a lot of love for that company in my heart because, of course, I spent a number of years working with them, running the online movie stuff or the online video stuff. And so I got kind of go back and forth. Not to mention they have in my opinion, a completely incompetent CEO, but that's neither here nor there. But I do like to point out when they do something that's really good. Again, I talk about their A-list program. I think is the best in the business. I really do. I think it's the greatest thing movie fans should do and get. But I came across this, I got an email from them the other day announcing this new deal that USA Today calls, well, they're calling it the Popcorn Pass. And here's basically how the Popcorn Pass works. You spend $30, $29.99, $30. And you get attached to, you got to be a Stubs member, but that's free to become anyway. And I'm an A-list member, so I have that. So you buy this Popcorn Pass. It's good until the end of December 2026. So a little over a year if you buy it today. Mm-hmm. So you buy it for $30, and what it does is it allows you one time a day to buy a large popcorn at half price. Now, I don't know about your theater where you are, but in my AMC theater that I like to go to, the one in Riverside, the Tyler Galleria, it's $10 for a large popcorn. And call it lack of self-control, call it gluttony, call it whatever you will. I have a Pavlovian response. When I walk into a movie theater, I got to have my popcorn. I often don't even usually eat half of it.
Your butter delivery system.
It's my butter delivery system. I got to have it, so I get it every time. And it's $10 a shot. So with this Popcorn Pass, it's now effectively going to be $5. That means if I go to just one movie a week, and that's being conservative, but let's say I just go to one movie a week, that's 4 times I'm going to go and get large popcorn, saving $5 each time. I'm spending $30 for the Popcorn Pass. I'm going to save $20 in the first month. By the end of the second month, I'm already in the black. I'm $10 up. I'm overall, if I go to one movie a week for the year, I'm going to be saving like $250. And we all know I'm going to go probably 6, 7, 8 times a month.
Yeah.
So I'm probably looking at this thing alone is probably going to save me $400 by the end of the year. Look, one of the big problems, as I talk about on the show all the time about the movie-going experience, is the cost of concession. I get it. It's how the theaters keep their lights on, all that kind of stuff. But still, it is exorbitantly expensive. For them to offer a program like this, I got to say, I think it's one of the very few consumer friendly moves that AMC does. Most moves AMC does lately are very, very consumer unfriendly, which is why I just want to pull my hair about with half the stuff that they do. But this is one of those rare, very consumer friendly moves. It gets them some upfront money, which is good. And in the long term, it's going to benefit the moviegoer. So listen, I like to give credit where it's due. I think this is a great move. I like it a lot. Rob, I bought it the moment I got the email.
Why not?
As soon as I saw the email, I logged into my AMC app, bought that damn popcorn pass, and I'm looking forward to using it today.
Do they send it to you?
No, it's just attached to your app.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So as an AMC, I got my phone here. Let me see if I can bring this up. I'm not totally sure I'll be able to.
Ironically, it popped up and got right in the way of something else we're going to talk about today at AMC.
Well, yeah, we're going to discuss that.
Kind of
But
messed up my app.
when I go there, so I open my app, right? And then I click the little scan. There's a little button down here called a scan barcode. And it's asking me to buy the pass, but I already did. There, I scan the barcode. And the very first thing I do when I walk up to a concession stand, as it's starting to load, is I say they scan this barcode.
Yeah.
So that way I get all my credit for spending money there. Cause you get points and discounts and whatever. It's just automatically attached to the account.
Yeah, it's in it.
As soon as you buy the popcorn pass, it's just attached. So as soon as I scan my barcode, as I always do,
Right.
it just automatically applies the discount. And here's the other kicker. This piggybacks on, if you're a Stubbs or A-list member, you get one free refill of popcorn per day.
Yep.
And the language is clear. Per day. So when you do what I do every once in a while, which is go do a double feature, instead of having to buy 2 popcorns, I just go and get my half price popcorn and then I can refill the bucket for free.
I've had times where I've gone to AMC and the guy's like, do you just want your refill now? And I'm like, because I was with a group. So I said, because normally I would say no to 2 large popcorns, but I was with a group. I'm like, yeah. So we had 2
Why
large
not?
popcorns.
Yeah. So again, listen, I bitch and cry and moan and complain about AMC a lot on this show, always for good reason. But when they do something that I think is pretty sharp and pretty good, I like to give them their flowers. This is a really good move, and I took advantage of it right away. Rob, you heard about this? Good move. Desperation doesn't make that much of a difference. Because, I mean, if somebody goes to the movies 3 or 4 times a year, this doesn't even make sense. But I don't know. How do you see this?
I'm with you. I mean, I think, look, we have talked about making part of the reason that Quentin Tarantino said that it used to be that movies for the everyman. Anybody could go to the movies. It was cheap enough for anybody to go. That's why they were flourished during the Great Depression. Movies have been priced out of the economy of a family of 4 being able to go to see the movies and not worry about it.
At least as often as they used to.
100%.
Yeah.
And so anything that can be done, especially here, popcorn is where movie theaters obviously are making a lot of their money. That's why the concessions are expensive. To cut down on that, I think it shows that they're thinking about it. But, again, it's a really good move. I think it's a really good move for them. And I think anything that makes the experience, look, you go with a family of
By the
4.
way, can I just interrupt for 1 second? I don't know if you saw me just look down at my watch. I literally, as we talked about this, I just got this email from AMC that is literally saying, your pass is now ready to go. 50% off has never tasted so good. And it's got the popcorn pop. And so, I mean, sorry, it just came in as we're talking about it.
That's amazing. Look,
please continue.
Look, the one thing I do really appreciate about AMC is when they teamed up with Dolby and AMC made their Dolby cinemas.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, the thing I care about most in movie theaters is presentation. Give me the best presentation possible. Make sure your projection lamps are not dim. That's what I want most. I want to see bright lamps. And with Dolby Vision screens, they're amazing. Sound is beautiful. But that said, having thoughtful concessions and making it easier, that's why I love Harkins. They do the same thing. They do a lot of great stuff there. But seeing AMC do this, I think is great. I can imagine a lot of other people are going to follow suit, Regal, whatever. This is a great move. And I'll tell you something. I sometimes think to myself, if I don't have enough cash on hand, I don't like to go to the movies if I can't buy as many concessions as I want.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Ann and
I mean, I want a beer, I want a Diet Coke, I want a bag of M&Ms, and I want popcorn.
I want it all.
And if it's not $50, I mean, if I can't get my $50 of concessions.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's like I said, it's a Pavlovian thing. Like Ann and I went to this dinner and we had this big dinner, and it was great. And I was stuffed. Didn't matter.
No, I
Because
know.
we were going to the movie theater right after. It's like, I'm still buying my large popcorn, even though I'm completely stuffed. I just got to have it. And if you're somebody that's as, lacks the willpower to just resist it like me, this is going to save me a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I like anything that does that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? AMC has this new popcorn pass. Yeah, it's $30, but it literally saves you $5 every time you buy a large popcorn. And if you go to the theater anywhere near as much as we do, that's literally going to save you hundreds of dollars every year.
Yeah.
I like it. Good move on their part. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this. All right, so we've got Avengers Doomsday coming. And right after that, we got Secret Wars. Now, one of the characters that was in those would have been debunked. What do you call them? The drawings to block out your shots.
Right.
Storyboards.
Storyboards.
It's been debunked. But remember all those storyboards
Yeah.
came out and
They were cool.
included She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, She-Hulk is a really interesting character right now because the show She-Hulk was god-awful. It was so bad. But it had its elements. It had those positive elements to it that just made the show even more disappointing because you saw what it could have been, right? They have a great character. They had an absolutely perfect pick to play it in multiple award-winning actress Tatiana Maslany. And the first episode I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And then it did what so many Disney Plus shows, not all of them, but so many of them do, start strong and then got really bad. And the show, again, to me, it was the ultimate sin. You made a comedy that was not funny.
Even the writing staff admitted they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. The conceit was so good. Rob, I know you and I were just salivating the idea of a Marvel show that's like an Ally McBeal in the superhero world. Sold. You got me. And it was, anyway, it was what it was.
How about just a cursory glance at John Byrne's run on She-Hulk? You could have nailed it, kids.
Well, you still got to translate it from page to screen. But still, here's the thing, though. I still bought into the character. I still like the character. And I like her playing it and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of us believe that we were going to see, like was in those debunked storyboards, we were going to see She-Hulk. Well, now there's a rumor going around, and we do have to file this one under the rumor mill. Okay,
I love rumors.
Got to pluck this one firmly under the rumor mill, okay? But it tracks. Here's basically the story. A Geek Tyrant is putting it this. According to this new report that's going around, by the way, not from a rock-solid, reliable source, but it's out there, that the studio wants She-Hulk to appear in a big way in Avengers Secret Wars, the sequel to Avengers Doomsday. The challenge comes with the actress behind the character. It's explained that Tatiana Maslany, quote unquote, has no interest in working with Disney at this point. For Marvel fans hoping to see her smash back into the franchise, that's not an update they were expecting. If Marvel Studios cannot change her mind, the report states the studio will be left with two choices. They can either recast the role or remove the character from the current MCU roadmap entirely. Neither option is ideal for fans who have embraced Matt Solani's take on the hero in She-Hulk Attorney at Law. You guys might remember when that whole Jimmy Kimmel thing was going on and got pulled out. Tatiana Maslany was one of the actresses who came out and spoke very strongly saying, oh, I don't want to work at Disney anymore. They're going to do this. Now, that was before they put him back on the air, but it is what it is. All right. I have a couple of thoughts on this. And I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but it is often lonely being right. So here's my thought on this. I get it. I get if Tatiana Maslany, with her principles, says, I don't want to work with Disney anymore. That's a pretty big player in the field you work in, but if that's how you feel, I respect it, right? Not to mention, she is a world-class actress. By the way, her guest episode on Parks and Rec is one of my all-time favorites. But she's a world-class actress who I thought, despite how bad the show was, she played the character great. But she also took a lot of crap from people because of the show. She got a level of online abuse and hate pointed at her for stuff that wasn't even her fault. She's just the actress, went in and played it great, but it was what the material was what it was. So part of me thinks, why would you even want to walk back into that? And this whole thing about not wanting to work with Disney. And I honestly think it is perfectly understandable and acceptable if she doesn't want to play the role anymore. Don't play the role anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. At the same time, she's not the character. The character is the character. I have long held a very unpopular belief that actors are replaceable, like all of us in our roles in life. Like it's in football, they call it next man up. You can't play. Okay. Next player is going to come in and take your spot. And hopefully they do great. Look what happened with Tom Brady. You know, the quarterback got injured. The starting quarterback got injured. Tom Brady came in, turned out to be the greatest of all time. If I'm Marvel and I'm Disney and I have plans for the She-Hulk character and she doesn't want to play it anymore, and my options are, okay, well, then just don't use the character or recast. Recast. That's not disrespect to anybody. That's not disrespect to Tatiana Maslany. That's not disrespect to the people who are fans of the show. That's not disrespect to anybody. It's like, hey, we got plans for the character. The character is more important to our story than the actor playing them. So Rob, this is one of those situations where it's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but I'm not mad at anybody. You don't want to work at Disney anymore for your own reasons? Totally get it. All good. You want to just recast it? You should. Just get another actress to come in and play the role. So it's kind of unfortunate to hear because I would like to see her play the character more. But if you can't, you can't. And if you're Disney, I'm not going, well, we're going to abandon our plans for our character in our movie just because one actress doesn't want to play it anymore. So anyway, Rob, you see this whole thing. We've kind of talked about this a little bit before when the Kimmel thing happened and Maslany was one of the more outspoken people. How do you see this? Do they move forward with She-Hulk without her? Do they abandon She-Hulk? Does Tatiana Maslany have a change of mind after they bring Kimmel back? I don't know. How do you see this working out?
I'm 100% in agreement with you. We've not seen She-Hulk on the big screen. You know, we've seen characters portrayed on TV before, but bringing somebody into a movie, into Secret Wars, I think recasting this role and bringing She-Hulk into the story if they have plans for her is perfectly, I love Tatiana Maslany. She's great.
She's great.
No one is going to miss her. These are about,
100%.
no one is going to miss her.
100%.
First of all, the show isn't memorable enough that people are going to be like, we have to have her back. They'll find an actress that is a big screen actress that can play this part. No one will miss her. It's now, if it were the other way around.
Is it fair to say that you and I, in an all other things being equal world, we would like to see her back as the character?
Yes.
If they were to do her?
100%.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved her portrayal. Love what she did with it. She was let down by the people. You know, actors also, I know they're being paid and they're being paid well. But actors also throw in with, they don't take every project that comes their way. So they're getting into a relationship with people that they feel are also going to serve them as well as they're serving the material they're being paid to be in. So if the people on the production side, and I'm talking about the producers and the writers, let the actor down, they have to protect their own careers. Yeah. So it doesn't, I think that the She-Hulk TV show let down Tatiana Maslany, and it makes, regardless of anything else that's happened, she's probably right to walk away because she can't, why would she trust it? You know, and I think the same would be true of any actor or actress. I think this is a perfect opportunity. A lot of people didn't watch the She-Hulk TV show. A lot of the movie-going audience, people that don't have Disney Plus, whatever, maybe a lot of the MCU fans, but even the MCU fans, they didn't like the show very much. So I think you have a perfect opportunity. How many Supermans have we accepted?
Many.
You know, and
Many
in the
Supermen.
in the 21st century alone, you had Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill, and now David Corenswet.
And don't forget the Superman and Lois guy.
Oh, of course, and Tyler Hoechlin. But that I was just saying in the movie theater screens alone. And then you've got, you know, Superman and Lois. There was 4 different Superman, and people understood, and they got it because it's about, like you said, the characters and the stories they tell. Secret Wars, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of Doomsday, is already a place. If there's one place that you can take a new actor and insert them into the role of a character,
it's Secret Wars.
It's Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I understand that Tatiana won't be coming back. but there's no reason why they can't find another actress to play the role.
Didn't stop.
And they're
him
going to
with,
give her. They'll probably give her a great part to
By
play.
the way, how many guys have we had playing Hulk? We've had no less than 3 guys on the big screen playing Hulk. So
look at Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle.
I mean, yeah. Look, again, let me be clear here. If Kevin Feige were to give me a call and say, should we have Tatiana back to play She-Hulk? I would say absolutely, 100%. She's my choice. But if she doesn't want to do it, okay, I respect that. There's lots of great actresses out there. Not a whole ton on the same caliber of a performer as Tatiana Maslany, but they're out there and you can find them. And I think you're right, Rob. I mean, it sounds like a harsh criticism of Tatiana, but it's really not. When you say no one's going to miss her, they're going to bring it because listen, Terrence Howard is a fabulous actor.
He's great.
I love Terrence Howard as a performer. I think he's great. But the moment Don Cheadle came on screen and said, yeah, it's me, get over it, I didn't miss Terrence Howard anymore.
We're all about that superhero life,
We're
John.
all about that superhero life.
I mean, I love Don Cheadle. I'm like,
And that's no disrespect to Terrence Howard at
no.
all.
But I thought Don Cheadle was an inspired choice.
Oh, Academy Award caliber choice.
I mean, it
Absolutely,
was incredible, and I will. That's one of my favorite moments in Endgame when he says that. That's one of my favorite lines in any Marvel movie. We're all about that superhero life. I mean, come on.
Hey, new girl. He refers to her as new girl. He's great. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Now, remember, we are filing this one under the rumor mill, but it is tracking with facts that we already know. We've been suspecting that they do want to use She-Hulk more. We know that Tatiana Maslany has voiced a lot of displeasure with Disney. It does kind of track. Would you be upset with Tatiana Maslany if she decided not to do it? I wouldn't be. I do want her back, but I get it if she doesn't want to. But I also think Disney should then just move ahead with their plans with their own character and recast. However you feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to play a little game of overreaction. A little bit earlier today, we put out a call for our viewers to send in their hot takes, if they've got any. And then Rob and I will adjudicate whether we think your hot take is a savage overreaction or not an overreaction. Jonathan's got a few picked out there. So, Jonathan, what do we got?
All right, Rob, let us know if this is an overreaction when we hear from Mitz. Zootopia 2 will outgross Avatar, Fire, and Ash.
Yeah, that's a way overreaction. No. Although I will say I was right about how much. We'll see, but I did say Zootopia 2 was going to make $1 billion. But it's not going to make nearly as much money as Avatar, Fire, and Ash is going to make. It's just not. And you have to go look at the Avatar films in terms of they're like the highest grossing movies
Of all time.
of all time.
Yeah.
So and the second one might not have grossed as much as the first, but it grossed over $2 billion.
Yeah, the most exclusive of all the clubs, the $2 billion.
Yeah, and now we've got Mordor Na'vi. Come on.
So you hate Zootopia 2 is what you're saying.
No, I haven't seen Zootopia 2 yet. And that's wrong to say. But obviously people love Zootopia 2. I love the first Zootopia, and I think Zootopia is going to gross over $1 billion, but it ain't going to gross more than Avatar, Fire, and Ash.
All right. A week ago, I would have said this is an overreaction. I can't call it an overreaction. This movie, which I've been on the road, so I haven't seen it. Ann and I are going to go see it this afternoon. So I'm really stoked about it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But this movie, in the span of 5 days, made over $500 million.
Yeah, I had to refresh box office. I was like, is this real?
Yeah, this has got to be a typo. You got to keep in mind, in the span of about 5 days, globally, this movie already made over, I think it was like 540, 550, 560.
It's adjusted to 560.
It made more money than most movies do in 5 days than most movies do in their entire theatrical runs.
I mean,
let's put it this. I think it made more money than Thunderbolts did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It made more money than Thunderbolts made in its entire theatrical run in 5 days.
Yeah.
Now, understanding that I don't believe, I think Avatar, Fire, and Ash is going to be a huge smash success, but I don't believe it's going to hit the $2 billion club. We just have fewer people going to the movies today, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a massive, massive, one of the highest grossing films of all time, but I don't think it's going to join the $2 billion club. So I've been pegging Avatar Fire and Ash at about 1.6, 1.7 billion. One of the biggest successes of all time, but that's where I put it. If a movie has made over $500 million in 5 days,
Yeah, it's weird.
is 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 really that big of a stretch? Look, I ain't saying, Rob, that I think Zootopia will in fact beat it, but I'll tell you, I don't think even the most optimistic appraisals thought this thing was going to clear $500 million in 5 days. So I'm going to say it's not maybe not right, but I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. And a week ago, I absolutely would have called it an overreaction.
Because
But
it
here
is
we are.
possible that, Fire and Ash makes 1.7 or 1.8.
Yeah.
So,
I see fire and I see ash.
all right.
All right. What's next?
We got, John, is this an overreaction when we hear from Dakota Hansen? People will still say Avatar Fire and Ash flopped, even if it only makes $1.7 billion.
That is not an overreaction. People, what they try to do, and look, I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody specifically. I think this is partly human nature. Okay. So I'm saying this is true, probably all of us. What a lot of people like to do is they try to mold data to fit their existing paradigm. I want Avatar Fire and Ash to flop, and there are those people out there. Therefore, whatever number it comes in at, they're going to point at and say, oh, that's a disappointment. That's a failure. What are you talking about? It's 1.7 billion. Yeah, but the other one made 2. So
Yeah.
what? It's a win. A win is a win is a win.
Yeah.
Oh, that Tom Brady, he failed this year. What are you talking about? They won the Super Bowl. Yeah, but they won more games the year before. So this is really a letdown season. The Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. And it works the opposite way too. People are going to hate me for saying this, but I'll say it. It's the same thing about Godzilla -1.
Don't you dare.
Hold on. Hold on. Do me a favor. Look up Box Office Mojo. What was the worldwide total box office take of Godzilla -1?
Okay.
Which,
Yeah.
by the way, costs less than $15 million.
I know. Now, there's absolutely the discussion to be had about, hey, in terms of cost to ROI, return on investment, it's an incredibly successful film. Absolutely. If you're going to talk about it in those terms, that's fair. But a lot of people who love the movie, by the way, I'm one of the people who loves that movie.
Me too.
It made a 1/5 Zootopia 2.
1/5, so about 100 million?
Yeah, 113.
$113 million worldwide total. There's a group of people out there who love the movie, like me, but try to frame it as like it was a global sensation. Global sensation? It barely beat the Oogie Loves. All I'm saying is not that many people ran out to go see Godzilla -1. But if you like it, you try to frame the data in such a way like it's some big, huge smash hit. It wasn't. It was a great success for return on investment, but bottom line is not that many people went out to go see it. And I say that as somebody who loved the film. So that is what we do. So Rob, it is not an overreaction to say, even if Avatar Fire and Ash becomes one of the highest grossing films in history, making $1.7 billion, there are absolutely people out there who are still going to point at it and say, well, that's a flop. Anyway, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I think you're right. I mean, look, it drives me bananas when people talk about box office numbers and they only use total worldwide box office to frame whether a movie was a hit or not. In the case of Godzilla that you just brought up, if you look at the percentage of profit it made for money that was spent to ROI, which you always have to take into consideration, if a movie costs $500 million to make, the amount of money it has to make to have the same percentage of ROI is enormous. So Godzilla -1, while it only made $100 million, it made a lot of money in terms of the percentage of profit it made.
My point was, which I agree with and which I said,
Yeah.
my only point was this picture people try to paint as some global sensation where people around the world were flooding into the
Right.
movie theater is simply not
Look,
true.
I mean,
that was not true.
We've been listening to an Avatar narrative of people trying to take away from the success of these movies
For over a decade.
For over a decade.
Yeah.
It's all like, it has no pop culture. It has no pop culture, whatever you want
Relevance.
to call it, relevance. And I'm like, how many movies do? I mean, everyone's only thinking about like Star Wars or whatever. I'm like, how many movies have this kind of pop culture relevance? The thing is, when Pandora rolls around, people want to go see it because why? It delivers a spectacular entertainment. Not everything becomes an IP where it has video games and action figures and animated shows and this, that, and the other thing. Avatar did exactly what it was supposed to do. And when people talk about it as, and you know what? I love the Avatar movies. Do I have Avatar novels and posters and action figures and all of these things that come along? No, but I still love those movies. You know, they're not, I enjoy them for what they are. They're not as intellectually stimulating to me as, say, a novel like Peter Watt's Blind Sight, which I think about a lot more, and it's just a damn book. But I think about it a lot more as the Avatar films, and when they come out, they provide grand family entertainment that everybody can go see all together and have a wonderful time and make everybody feel good. That's why people go. They don't have to have a pop culture footprint.
You know, the one argument I'm getting sick of hearing, and it bothers me a bit because I was one of the people that was saying this before too, and that pisses me off that I used to do it. But this whole argument, Avatar has no cultural imprint. $2 billion worth of people ran out to buy tickets to it. That's the biggest fucking cultural footprint you're going to get. And they went out $2 billion worth of them went out to go see the second one too. That's a cultural footprint.
They didn't even have a popcorn pass when they did that.
I mean, it's like, you know, I love certain roller coasters. I love it. Like if I go places I gotta go. I used to have to go on the Revolution at Magic Mountain all the time. It had no cultural footprint in my life, but I loved going to Magic Mountain. I loved going on the Revolution.
Yeah. I like that. All right.
Okay.
What's next?
Rob, is this an overreaction when we, when we hear from Joseph Mayu, making Wicked 3 would just be a cash grab that would not end up doing well at the box office?
Well, I think that could be an overreaction. However, the author of the original book, Wicked, just announced that he's writing Glinda, and it's going to be a book about her early life as a young witch.
And the guy who wrote the music for the original stage play Wicked is going to write music for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now, is that a cash grab? If the book is good, I would say that the 2 Hunger Games prequels, they have Sunrise on the Reaping, you know. If those are good, is it a cash grab? I mean, look, this is a business. They're making a product to make money. That the product has art in it that we love and it shapes our own culture and our own imaginations is a thing. But I don't think anything can be called a cash grab when the desire to anybody at a studio to make movies is to make money. Now, do they want them to be artful and amazing? Yes. But make no mistake, it ain't show friends. It ain't show art. It's show business.
Show art.
I mean, hey, I'm working at the studio. We make show art. You know, if that's great, then nobody would care. I think if Wicked 2 goes on to make a certain amount of money and they want to make a Glinda, that movie can be great. You can have as much artistry in a third Wicked movie as you have in any other movie. And if the movie's good, is it a cash grab? Well, I hope so, because a big cash grab that makes money is good for the business. It's good for theater owners. I don't want a movie to be made that isn't a cash grab. So what you want is the same thing. What's going to make it money is if it's artistically successful. That's the rub. You know, I think Joker 2 is a cash grab that didn't really work out. You know, but there was no reason for that movie to get made. That was a cash grab.
So you're going to call this an overreaction?
I'm calling it an overreaction.
I'm going to agree with you. It's an overreaction. And let me be clear, and I think a lot of people know what I'm going to say. Repeat after me. Every film ever made is a cash grab.
Yes.
Sorry. I know there are people quaffing their hair going, no, you don't understand the art. No, I get it. But behind every hair flipping artist who wants to talk about their vision is somebody who actually has to write a check. And they write the check, not out of the goodness of their heart. They write the check expecting to get a return and hoping to get a return. Every film ever made that's been released in your local movie theater is, to one degree or another, a cash grab. It just is. Maybe not every single one of the 500 people that works on the film did it just for that. But at some point, there's somebody writing a check. Would a third Wicked movie be a cash grab? Absolutely, but no more so than the first Wicked movie was. You know what they did? They said, oh my God, this stage play is an incredible global sensation. We can make ass loads of money if we turn this into a movie and put it in theaters. That was the motivation, as was the second part, as would be the third part.
As was the Broadway play in the first place.
Yeah, now as to the point, though, that they make that maybe it wouldn't make any money, that part of it, I can have a little bit more understanding towards that because, again, it's not backed by the success of the stage play. But when you're looking at the money these movies are making, it's still going to make a portion of that, which is still probably enough. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to call it an overreaction.
But the thing is, that's not a bad thing. I want movies to be cash grabs and to work.
All right, what's next?
All right, John, is this an overreaction when we hear from Justin, who says Project Hail Mary will make less than $500 million?
I'm not going to call it an overreaction. And the reason for that is because, now look, can this movie become a global success and make $900 million? Absolutely it can. But the reason I'm going to say you're not overreacting here is because most of the excitement about this movie is concentrated on those who have read the book. And the people who have read the book represents a relatively small percentage of the overall movie-going audience. The first trailer didn't wow a lot of people. And in life, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. Second trailer, bonkers good. But did they already fail to get people on board? Look, I think this movie is going to be amazing. The story is great. Ryan Gosling very rarely signs up for a bad film. I'm trying to remember the last bad film Ryan Gosling was in. I mean, Fall Guy didn't make a lot of money, but it was great.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And so he chose to be in this. You got Lord and Miller behind it. So it's got a chance to be pretty big, but I don't think it's an overreaction to maybe predict it only gets around that $500 million mark. That's very possible too, even if it's good. So I don't know, Rob, what do you think?
Well, it's my most eagerly awaited movie for 2026, and I can honestly say that is not an overreaction. Because like you said, it is an unknown quantity. You know, it is coming off, Andy Weir wrote The Martian, and I think The Martian was probably Ridley Scott's last truly great film, especially the extended version of it, which I dearly love.
Such a good movie.
It's such a good movie. And I think this will work on that same level. I think this is going to be a zeitgeist film. I think everybody's going to want to go see it. But people don't know. But I unless it catches on, I mean, I would hope that it does Zootopia 2 business, because I think it's going to be that good. And I think, obviously, you can tell from the material we saw, especially what we saw at CinemaCon, nothing exceeds what the CinemaCon stuff was that they showed us, because they showed us 8 minutes of it or whatever. But I think it's not an overreaction.
All right.
As much as I'm loath to admit it, I want it to make $1 billion.
Yeah, and it can. It could.
I agree.
That's possible too. All right, what's next?
All right, Rob, is this an overreaction when we hear from Bry Guy? Comic book movies are old news. It's video game movies now. Video game adaptations will outgrow comic book movies in 2026.
I don't think that's an overreaction. I mean, I think that we've got Mortal Kombat coming out. You've got Mario Universe. Was it Mario Universe? It is Mario Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Mario, I think that there is look, it still comes down to making great movies from both comic books and from video games. And making great movies is hard. We've had 25 years of comic book movies, beginning with Bryan Singer's X-Men in 2000 to the current day. Video game movies are ascendant. That we're now getting, we have Last of Us, we have Mario, we have other video game properties that have come out that have done really, really well. Zach Kreger's Resident Evil is coming out next year. Wouldn't bet against that either. Reinventing that franchise. The guy coming off Weapons and coming off Barbarian might be pretty great, might make a lot of money. We'll see, but I don't think it's an overreaction.
I'm going to say it's absolutely an overreaction. I mean, listen, what do we got coming? Mortal Kombat 2. If you think that's going to make over $500 million, I got Swampland to sell you. I mean, look, and the reality is, in 2026 alone, I just got to point to 2 movies. Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. Combine those movies. Look, I'll tell you, look, I don't think either of them are $2 billion films, but combined, those 2 films alone are going to make over $3 billion. I firmly believe that. Nothing on this list is going to come close to that. Because, you know, like, again, you're talking about Mortal Kombat.
What if we get 5 video game movies that do really well, and we only get 2 superhero movies that do really well?
They'll still not come close to the amount of money that those 2 superhero movies.
But if we go by ROI, Like if
But
Mortal
he's talking culture. These things are going to surpass it. You got to get people to me to justify that something surpassed it means more people go to the theaters to watch it.
It's true.
And they're just not. Like Mario Brothers has a chance of being over $1 billion film, right? Now, this is a age-old property that has multiple literal generations of people who know. Like, okay, there's the one. But do you really think Street Fighter is going to make $500 million? Nobody believes it's going to do
but
that.
it depends how much they spend on it relative to what it costs and what it made.
It's irrelevant. I don't care if you spend $5 on it. You're not getting the same amount of people going out to go see it. It's just that simple. And to say that you've surpassed something, you've got to say that more people were interested in buying movie tickets and coming to see the movie than your movie. And that is simply not the case. Now, am I saying that day will never come?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, just look at the foothold that video game adaptations are getting on television right now. Like between the insane success of Fallout, we got, by the way, God of War is coming. By the way, Amazon's already greenlit season 2, and the director of a bunch of the episodes of one of my favorite shows of all time, Shogun, has just signed on that he's going to be directing a bunch of the episodes of it. Oh my God. So listen, that's eventually going to flood over more. And by the way, we already have some big successes in the movie world. You got Sonic, you got Mario Brothers. Granted, there's a little bit of outliners with some multi-generational things there. So can that day come? 100%. Is it coming in the year where Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter are coming out and Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday are coming? Oh, hell no. Not even close. So I'm going to call it an overreaction. All right. What's next?
Right. Final one. I had to make this graphic while you guys were speaking because I realized I forgot to. So here it comes.
All right.
Z Kyoto says Brand New Day, Doomsday, and Secret Wars will be Marvel's best 3 film run ever, both critically and at the box office.
Okay, is that theoretically possible? Sure. But that's a tall order. Yeah. So I'm going to call it an overreaction. Again, listen, I got to emphasize this enough. When Infinity War and Endgame came out, they came out as the crescendo of 12 years, 20 plus movies of Marvel firing on all cylinders. The MCU was at its peak of popularity when those 2 movies came out. And it was crescendo to this big buildup that everybody was excited about. Today, the circumstance is different. The MCU is on a little bit of shaky ground right now. They put out some marvelous stuff the last few years and some really crappy stuff. So you don't have that same crescendo feeling coming from Doomsday or Secret Wars. Can they be big? Absolutely. The other thing is, and I know I go back to this a lot, but like the studies have shown, 15 to 20% fewer people are going to the movies right now than when Infinity War and Doomsday came out. So can those be bigger? Considering that the MCU's in a shaky place, not as many people are going to the movies. I don't think they can be bigger. And listen, Spider-Man No Way Home nearly made $2 billion. I don't see today Spider-Man Brand New Day living in the same set of circumstances that Doomsday is that the MCU isn't firing on all cylinders. Remember, Spider-Man Brand New Day or Spider-Man No Way Home came out after the huge crescendo of Endgame, right? It doesn't have that going for it this time. So while I'm not going to say it's impossible, I'm going to say this is an overreaction. Rob, what about you?
I totally agree. It's an overreaction. I think that, look, regardless, rightly or wrongly, Avengers Doomsday is built on a gimmick. It's built on a gimmick that may work or it may not work. And we still don't even know who the Avengers are. I mean, we know the new Avengers.
It's still a year away.
Yeah, it's still a year away. I mean, look, and they might give us the greatest trailer known to man. But here's the thing. I used to be the biggest Marvel fiend. I couldn't wait for these movies. And Infinity War and Endgame, I don't think I've been as excited to see 2 movies. I can't remember. Maybe seeing The Empire Strikes Back. And they delivered. They delivered. Those 2 movies, I can't get enough of them. I still can't get enough of them. So in my mind, if Doomsday does not equal Infinity War and Endgame, it will be lesser than, and I don't see how it could possibly, for reasons you already said, that it was building on all these things. I don't think there's any way that if Secret Wars and Doomsday were the 2 greatest movies ever made of all time, They do not have the anticipation that Infinity War and Endgame came, that it paid off.
100%. 100%.
You know, so look, I made a lifestyle choice that I'm excited about Doomsday. I've made this choice. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the trailer. I'm not going to lie. I can't wait. However, there's not the Avengers team that I was always excited to see that's in this movie because they're gone. So how good can it be? I know.
You say that's what's going to hold it back from how good it can be?
No Steve Rogers, no Iron Man, no Black Widow. I love those characters. I mean, no Black Panther.
Those are hurdles, but you can still make like the greatest movie ever just without those characters.
You could, but part of what the Avengers movies made them so good with those characters.
Yeah, but now you just do it with other characters.
We don't know who they are.
We don't, but we'll find out.
I know.
By the way, I reserve the right to change my kind of thoughts on this once we see this trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer could change everything.
It could change everything.
If it's a bad trailer, we're talking like, oh, this is it for the MCU, they're done. If it's like bonkers out of its mind good, we could be talking of having a very different conversation on December 19th.
I never use this word, but because I hate it, but if the trailer is mid, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, well, because you and I, look, we don't want to belabor this, but you and I agree. This is the most important trailer probably ever made. For a production company. I don't think any production company has ever had more writing on one trailer than Marvel has on this Doomsday trailer.
Yep.
And again, we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. But all right, guys, that will wrap up today's little session of overreaction. Thank you so much to all you guys who sent in your hot takes on that. Keep your guys' eyes open on our YouTube channel when we put out a call for more of your submissions. All right, guys, listen, we still have a couple things to talk about here, including Stranger Things Season 5 going into theaters for its finale episode. Yeah, good luck. It's sold out everywhere. We're going to talk about that. And Netflix apparently has put in an all-cash offer to buy Warner Brothers. They're dead serious, and new reports are coming out that saying the Warner Brothers shareholders and their board, they're starting to prefer Netflix as the people taking it over. We're talking about that. And Avatar Fire and Ash, it had its premiere the other night, so the first reactions are online now, and they're pretty damn solid. We're going to talk about those things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Hey guys, we are right now in the middle of the holiday season, and this is always the time of year when traditions take center stage. For me, one of the small traditions I've had for myself since I was a teenager is taking at least one night during the Christmas season to just spend completely by myself, to just reflect on the year that was and how I want to improve myself in the year that's coming. The holidays can be joyful, but they can also be stressful, overwhelming, even lonely. So if you're thinking about starting therapy or getting back into it, BetterHelp is a great way to begin. BetterHelp has fully licensed therapists who work under a strict code of conduct, and they do the matching work for you. The way it works is you fill out a short questionnaire. They use over 12 years of experience to match you with someone who fits your goals. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime from their tailored recommendations. With over 30,000 therapists and more than 5 million people served, the platform's average live session rating is 4.9 out of 5 from more than 1.7 million reviews. So this December, start a brand new tradition by taking care of you. Our listeners get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, that down, let's move on to this. So Stranger Things Season 5, the final season, has launched its first 4 episodes. I'm going to tell you, I really like them. I really like them. I'm not the biggest Stranger Things fan in the world. I like the show. I do. I like the show. But I'm not like obsessively a huge fanboy about them or anything like that. But I like the first 4 episodes that I saw. And I really like the little cliffhanger they did too. I kind of got emotional to it. The whole stuff with Will. Won't go into any spoilers there. But as we announced a couple of weeks ago, Netflix is doing a little bit more toe dipping into the waters of theatrical. They're going to put out the final episode to coincide with the dropping on Netflix. They're also going to put them in theaters for people to watch and enjoy them in theaters. I guess somewhere down deep, Netflix does realize that these types of things are better done with an audience anyway. Well, to my surprise, It's doing pretty good. The tickets for these screenings are now on sale. So, having been notified by a friend of mine this morning in text message, the tickets are now on sale. Great. Went over. I thought there was something wrong with the site because there are no tickets in my theater available. They're gone. They're gone. Now, they're doing something kind of interesting with this, at least as far as AMC goes. They're not charging anything for the tickets. What you buy, it's kind of like when you go to a comedy club and you buy two drink minimum, right? What they're doing at least AMC is you buy a $20 concession stand voucher. So you don't pay anything for the ticket. You buy a concession stand voucher, and then you get to use that $20 voucher at the concession stand. Mm-hmm. Interesting way of doing it. Kind of like it for a special event. That's kind of cool. But they're gone. And I thought it was just me. So I went and looked at another theater, like the AMC Burbank 16. Gone. Then I looked at one that's like an hour from here. In a 400-seat theater, there was seats in the first 2 rows still available. That was it. I don't see how they don't expand this. Now, according to this thing in the wrap, Stranger Things, they're launching it in 500 theaters. They're doing this thing in 500 cinemas for something that people can just stay at home and watch. And this is a loud message, I think, to Netflix. Everybody's going to the theater. These you can't keep these things in stock, these seats. Now, granted, I think they're screening it in 2 days. They're doing December 31st and January 1st. And I was just looking at the December 31st ones because nobody wants to be second. But listen, man, I'm shocked that I couldn't get tickets to this.
The first are gone too.
Oh, they're all gone too on the first as well?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just nuts. So I'm sitting here thinking they have to expand this, right? Maybe they push this to 1,000 theaters, or maybe they're going to keep it as this high exclusive event and they're going to keep it just to the 500. I mean, nobody's collecting any box office money, so I guess it doesn't matter to them. But wow. Rob, listen, I knew putting the finale in theaters was a good idea. I knew a bunch of people were going to go. I didn't know that they put it in up to 500 theaters, and I certainly didn't see them selling out in a blink of an eye. What do you think this says or tells us about the popularity of the series? What do you think this says? Do you think they expand this and go wider? I don't know. What do you take away from this?
Well, I mean, look, for a generation, Stranger Things is a zeitgeist show. I mean, it's been going on for over a decade. People have grown up with this show, grown up with these characters. I think this is a very beloved event. And I think that this is the kind of event that people were very aware of. They announced this happening. It was something that was talked about, word of mouth, very exciting for people. Really, it's the climax of the entire series. It's not like they're showing a few episodes from the new season. This is the last episode of Stranger Things ever. And the climax they're leading up to should be the return of the king of the Stranger Things franchise. So I think it's an epic thing, and I think it shows the interest. I think they couldn't charge for it because there was probably DGA and SAG rules once they put things in theaters. I know that because that happened to us with Star Trek The Next Generation. When we were putting episodes in theaters, there was one of the directors of the director of the Best of Both Worlds complained. And he was like, why my TV episode's being shown in theaters? And they went to the DGA and bitched, and it became a huge issue for the studio. So that's why they put it in the theaters. They can't accept money for it. That's why you're doing the voucher thing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Other TV shows have put
and I'm sure they couldn't
charged for it.
I'm sure they couldn't take money either.
But I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones did.
But I'll bet that the studio had some deal where they weren't necessarily.
Possibly, yeah,
because
that could be.
Because it becomes it was really sucked for Star Trek because we did 3 events. There could have been 4 more. Thank you, Cliff Bowl. Rest in peace. But I think this is a great thing. I think it shows the excitement. You want to everybody wants to have this kind of excitement around their IP. And whether you like Stranger Things or not, they didn't spare any expense. I watched all 4 episodes too. And while I had some certain issues with certain narrative choices, they spent a lot of money on this show, and it's all up on the screen. You can't say that and this is a wildly entertaining show. I think for the people that enjoy Stranger Things, they're certainly delivering the goods. And I like seeing that.
What I liked about the 4 episodes? I mean, there are certain things like, hey, would the military actually do this? And hey,
Right.
there were some of those things. Yes, but one of the things I loved about the first 4 episodes, no filler. Like even in the other seasons that I've liked, there'd be a whole bunch of time in an episode being done in this kind of little thing, and then I felt like every scene in the first 4 episodes were like, this is significant. This is significant.
It was really interesting too.
The attack in the parents' house, I honestly think is one of the top 3 greatest moments in all of Stranger Things.
It was brutal.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, it had real, when it first started out, I was like, is this a dream? Is this actually happening? And there's a lot of really interesting stuff happening. I really like what they're doing with, let's call it the wall, whatever's going on with there. There's some really interesting stuff going on. And I'm like curious to see how it pays off.
By the way, somebody in the live chat, and I get this, but somebody in the live chat said, and I'm trying to find out who did it. I can't find who said, but they basically said, I found out I can't use my A-list to get tickets for this, so I'm not really interested. The reason you can't use A-list to get it is because they're not charging for tickets.
Right.
You can't use A-list to buy concession stands. So I kind of get it. It's understandable. And by the way, Netflix isn't taking a cut.
Yeah.
They're not taking any money for it, for probably partially because of the reasons you were already explaining so well. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I'm kind of shocked and amazed. Like, these seats are gone. They're just gone for something you can sit at home and watch TV on. Maybe Netflix realizes this is going to be a great cultural experience for people, because that's what movie theaters are. Anyway, do you think they're going to expand it? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Sticking on the topic of Netflix, of course, Warner Brothers Discovery is currently up for sale, and they're taking bids. We knew in the first round of bids, 3 potential suitors came a-calling. One of them was Paramount. They put in a bid. One of them was NBC Universal Comcast. They put in a bid. And Netflix was the surprise. I mean, if you went back and asked several months ago, not lately, but was the surprise 3rd bidder. And listen, Netflix is dead serious about this, because now they're on the round of 2nd bids. And according to the stories like this one, Warner Bros. Discovery, their new bid is mostly all cash. Now, a lot of times bids will be a whole accounting backflips and somersaults and twister games of movie. Well, this much will be in debt consolidation. This much will be in shares. This portion will be in cash. Netflix is coming out and saying, cash, we'll just give you a lot of money. We'll just give you a lot of money. And by the way, according to other reports coming out of Wall Street, there are now reports from insiders saying that the board of Warner Brothers is really warming up to the Netflix idea. And one of the reasons why is according to Gaspario's tweet, Warner Brothers likes Netflix offer for a lot of reasons, including the chemistry between David Zaslav and Sarandos, the head of Netflix, which kind of implies this might be light confirmation of what we heard before, that Netflix may indeed be planning on letting Warner Brothers just continue to run as Warner Brothers and continue to put their movies out in theaters. Listen, I'm on record saying that out of all the options, the one I hate most is Netflix getting them.
Yeah.
But I will soften my position on that if Netflix commits that Warner Brothers continues to put out theatrical films. If they do, then I feel a little bit differently about it. Here's the other interesting thing about the Netflix bid. It will face, I think, less FCC scrutiny than, say, something like NBC Universal Comcast. Why? Because Netflix isn't a movie studio. They currently don't put out theatrical films. This would not be a monopoly of anything, because they're not even in the theatrical film business. Yeah. It would, now, I'm not saying that automatically means anything, okay? I'm not. But I'm saying when you're looking at something like NBC Universal Comcast, while they may be able to get over the hurdles, one of the hurdles they're going to have to face is, hey, is this creating more of a monopoly? You're already a giant movie studio with Universal. Now you're absorbing in another giant movie studio with Warner Brothers. That could become an issue, maybe, but it really wouldn't be one for Netflix. And at least the theatrical part of it, the HBO Max part could raise some eyebrows, but not the theatrical. So, Rob, I've talked to a couple of people this week, very offhand, who are kind of insiders in the business, who are starting to believe that Netflix may indeed be the front runner now to end up winning the bid with Warner Brothers. I thought it was really interesting when we heard that Netflix was interested. I must confess, I never really gave them a serious chance. But it's starting to look like they might be the ones that the Warner Brothers board decides to go for. Anyway, a lot of information here, Rob. Cash offer, that the board is warming up to Netflix, the idea that it sounds like they're very interested in Zaslav working with Sandro, all that kind of stuff. What are you taking away from this?
Well, cash talks. And look, for me, I love movies. I love Warner Brothers. It was one of the first real jobs I had, was working directly for the head of physical production at Warner Brothers. I love the studio. I love its legacy. I love its 100-year rich history of making movies. I love HBO. I would like to see Warner Brothers maintain some kind of autonomy. And if Warner Brothers buys it, but they keep it intact, I understand Warner Brothers would probably, Netflix would eliminate HBO. That would probably go by the wayside. And I think, I don't necessarily trust Netflix executives to know. There is a level of expertise at the studio level that I don't think any of the streamers quite live up to. The movies at Disney, that Universal, that the studios make, the people that come from the studio world make, they've had a longer experience making product. And I think that if a streamer like Netflix suddenly takes over a movie studio, it'll be interesting to see if they're able to sustain the quality of product.
It depends if they maintain the
That's what I think. I would hope that,
right?
I'm hoping they do. Although, who knows? We'll see. But if Netflix is going to make a cash offer, it really comes down to who's going to give them the most money. Yeah. And Netflix has a lot of money.
They have all the monies.
So does Comcast, though. I mean, they got a lot of, but Netflix has a lot of money. And if they want to make that cash offer, I don't think it's a bad. I mean, if Netflix became the repository of all Warner Brothers product. I mean, again, I think back to what Warner Archive is doing, and they're going back into their rich history, and they're giving us, they're remastering all these films from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, 70s. They're doing great stuff, and Netflix would benefit from that, and they would actually exploit all that stuff in a great way. So, I mean, it's not like HBO isn't doing that now, but look, that's all I want to see. I want to continue to get great movies and great product for the rest of my life. And anybody that's going to facilitate that, that's who I want to have happen. But the reality is, it's always money.
Yeah. But again, I loathe the idea of Netflix getting them. But if like this kind of report holds water, that one of the things that Warner Brothers likes about the Netflix bid is that apparently it contains some kind of structure that David Zaslav continues to run Warner Brothers. And David Zaslav is going to keep DeLuca and Abdi.
Oh, yeah.
And David Zaslav is going to keep James Gunn. And David Zaslav is going to keep his infrastructure. If that's the case, and it's a big if, then again, I soften on the idea of Netflix.
Yeah, I do too.
Look, I think there are pros and cons for Paramount getting them. I think there's some really interesting pros with Paramount getting them, some cons. I think there's some really interesting pros with NBC Universal getting them, some cons. And if Netflix keeps the studio intact, I could see some real pros there too. I mean, and for Warner Brothers, or for Netflix, I should say, I mean, what a windfall. Now you get like Warner Brothers, one of the most historic studios in the history of Hollywood, and all their movies, where they're going to end up? They're going to end up on Netflix.
Right.
They become Netflix exclusives after they have their theatrical runs. Anyway, there's a lot of moving pieces here. We still don't know how this is all going to shake out. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? It sounds like Netflix is a much more serious player in all this than maybe we thought. They have some pros going for them. Whatever you think about this whole thing, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this. Avatar, Fire and Ash, also known as the event of the dropping of the Avengers Doomsday trailer, has had its premiere. As such, first reactions are now coming out online because as well as the premiere, they've also had some spattering of some critic screenings of it, which says a lot because they're doing these screenings and letting the first reactions come out more than 2 weeks in advance of the film, which to me suggests they have some confidence in the film. That's always good. The first reactions are incredible. Here's the general gist. Amongst a lot of the reactions, some of them are saying, yeah, you know what? It's a little bit of a retread of Way of Water. But even the ones that are saying that are still saying it's still a spectacular viewing experience. And out of the 40 or 50 reactions that I've read, there have been 2 or 3 that straight up didn't like the movie. Vast majority of them, a lot of them saying it's their favorite of the Avatar franchise, and a whole bunch of them saying they're already covering ground they've already covered, a little repetitive that way, but overall an incredible experience watching this thing. Let's go over and read some of the reactions that the Hollywood Reporter pulled together. Our friend Eric Davis wrote, James Cameron's Avatar Fire and Ash is a phenomenal movie-going experience. It's the biggest of the 3. Action-packed, visually jaw-dropping, and rich with themes of family, legacy, and survival. The way it weaves fire, water, air, and land into every nook and cranny of the film is just spectacular. Scott Mendelson wrote, there's too much been there, done that. This is one of those ones I was talking about. This is interesting the way he puts this. There's too much been there, done that in terms of plot beats and set pieces. But Avatar Fire and Ash is still an awe-inspiring technical and visceral achievement. It doesn't skimp on the melodrama or intensity as James Cameron delivers towering spectacle of such all-in, I'm going to jump over and get the rest of it, of such all-in splendor that it plays like the last movie that's ever going to get made. Yeah, this third Avatar rocks. So this
And
is
for Mendelsohn to say that.
yeah. Now, again, this is one of those examples where there are going to be some of these critics saying, yeah, some of it's going to feel repetitive and some of it feels like it's too much of the blueprint of Way of Water. But it's insanely good. And you know what? Before I keep reading more of these, I'm okay with that. It's like, if you're somebody who loves roller coasters, what are you going to do? This roller coaster had a loop. I've been on another roller coaster that had a loop. Yeah, but were you thrilled?
Right.
Were you excited? Did it give you the experience? Because you know me, Rob, at the end of the day, movies are experiential events. And if your movie delivers an experience for me, that's all that really matters to me. And I think this is one of those reviews that was just like, yeah, it does tread some ground. It does feel like a little bit of we've been there, done that. But this is a stunning achievement. And that's what a lot of the vast majority of these are. We move on to Bill Bria, who writes, Avatar Fire and Ash is a knockout, an epic that delivers on an enormous scale, with the characters and world building paying off surprising dividends. It's a delight to see the film be this big while still being a narratively and visually bold work of science fiction, quote unquote, the best one yet. Simon Thompson wrote, with Avatar Fire and Ash, master storyteller and visionary filmmaker James Cameron again delivers a hyper-real experience that's emotional and exhilarating, repeatedly and exhaustively raising its own bar. This is an audacious feat that delivers more than anyone ordered. Courtney Howard wrote, Avatar Fire and Ash. 3 films in, James Cameron still has the sauce, making the epic spectacular feel emotionally impactful. A glorious saga, bold, brilliant, and awesome in every way. This is what movie theaters were built for. Payakin is still my favorite, but Varang, who I believe is your fire priestess. She is all of our fire priestesses. Varang is the MVP. The Hollow-Files writes, Avatar Fire and Ash is a monumental cinematic achievement. Astonishing boundary-pushing visuals are accompanied by an enthralling narrative filled with poignant commentary and genuinely moving character work. By far the best Avatar movie, epic, ambitious, heartfelt, a must-see. Eric Goldman wrote, Avatar Fire and Ash is another visually fantastic epic that also contains a couple of the most emotional moments in the series. On the other hand, I had some issues with the third act. The Way of Water remains peak for me, but damn, Cameron delivers spectacle like no one else. Chris Killian wrote, Avatar Fire and Ash is a damn good James Cameron movie. What else do you need to know? Go see it in 3D. I'll probably skip the 3D of it. Anyway, in the best theater you can because it'll blow your mind. That's what James Cameron does. Every bit as gorgeous as you'd expect. Fire and Ash is also easily the most intense Avatar. Eric Voss from New Rockstars wrote, I saw Avatar Fire and Ash. I was surprised at how well the movie plunges you right back into Pandora and makes it every bit as stunning and thrilling as it has always been. I admire how earnest these movies are. It's exactly as good as the first two and deserves as many billions. Josh Param writes, Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, this is one of those ones that didn't quite like it so much. Avatar Fire and Ash is overstuffed with a lot of plot, further dragged down by repeating familiar beats, which we heard from other people too, from the previous entries. But Cameron still delivers amazing spectacle. With an intriguing, darker tone, there's novel concepts here that I wish they more thoroughly explored. So even the one that didn't like it is saying it's still spectacular. Brian Toe wrote, Avatar Fire and Ash is extraordinary. James Cameron delivers another visual feast that has an emotional, action-packed story centered around the impact of grief and hatred. Ona Chaplin is firmly, beautifully unhinged standout as Varang. Obviously, or already want to see it again, which is a nice little thing. Last one I'll read here today. Cody wrote, Never doubt James Cameron. Avatar Fire and Ash is another sprawling, ambitious, gorgeous adventure. Una Chaplin is the best new element. She's iconic, she's gaggy, etc. And her Ash tribe rocks.
All right.
Cameron expands the series' visual capacity with some innovative, trippy sequences. All right. You know, one of the things that some of these remind me of is like the first Avatar. Instead of saying it reminds me too much of previous Avatar movies, this one reminds me too much of Dancing with Wolves. They said about the first one.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was a fair criticism. It was. It felt too much. What were some of the other ones they called it? Pocahontas.
Fern Gully in space.
Yeah, Fern Gully in space. All valid. But all that being true, the movie delivered a unique, visceral, awe-inspiring spectacle that ultimately went on to become the highest grossing film in the history of the industry. The second one came out and did the same. So I'm not shocked or surprised, Rob, to hear the criticisms coming from people who still like the movie, saying that it feels like it's retreading some of the themes who've already been there. Fair enough. I'll go in expecting that then. But when I get on this roller coaster, is it going to thrill me? Is it going to blow my mind? Is it going to leave me white-knuckled? Is it going to leave me short of breath? Is it going to give me the experience?
And there's another loop.
And is it going to give me another kind of loop? By the way, listen, movies all aim to deliver different kinds of experiences. Some try to deliver laughter. Some try to deliver an experience of fear or shock or contemplation or sorrow or thrills. The key is, does a movie deliver in spades that experience they're trying to give the audience? And if you do, you've won. And it sounds like James Cameron has won. So I like what I'm hearing from this so far. I'm not surprised to hear some of the criticisms, but it sounds like even those criticizing it say those criticisms get washed out in the overall spectacle of the movie. Anyway, Rob, you're hearing these reactions. Is this kind of in line with what you were thinking you were going to hear? Do you like what you're hearing? Are there any parts of this that are concerning to you? How are you feeling about it?
Not at all. You know, I've always said never bet against Jimmy C, and that's what one of the reviewers said. I never would. I love these movies. I love the spectacle of it. And I have to say, I found out something interesting about the film that I didn't know. When we saw stuff at CinemaCon, you know, it wasn't really a trailer. It was just scenes butted up against each other. We saw them in HFR. High frame rate. Remember how they did The Hobbit in high frame rate? Not a lot of people liked it.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
One of the things about that was what I noticed about Avatar that's different than The Hobbit is because this takes place on Pandora and you're on an alien world. I think the high frame rate actually works. And at the Harkins Theater, I looked it up. They're giving you the opportunity to see it in 3D if you want. Or you can see it in 3D HFR as well. So this is the best 3D that has ever been done by a wide margin. And seeing these in IMAX 3D is absolutely spectacular. But I can't wait to see this in HFR 3D. I don't remember if from my recollection, they didn't do Fire and Water in HFR because there was a kind of a backlash against it. I don't know. I mean, Way of Water. But I can't wait to see this. I saw a clip with Varang and Stephen Lang's character today before it came on the show. What's that?
The "You Need Me" scene?
Yes. That, I'm so in watching him talk to her. I'm like, with his oily villainy. I don't care if it's too over the top and mustache twirling. I'm like, this is great. I can't wait to see this. I am more excited to see this movie than I was ever before. I can't wait to see it. I don't apologize. I love all three of these movies. I will love all three of these movies, I'm sure. I can't wait to watch the extended versions of both Avatar and Way of Water again at home. Come at me, bro.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, the first reaction saying this thing is big, it's spectacular, action-filled. A number of them saying it's the best Avatar yet. However, a number of them are pointing out, Chris, that some of it feels thematically like it's retreading ground we've already been over. Is this in line with what you've expected to see? Are you excited about seeing it? Maybe not. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we've got breaking news. Interesting story just came out. As the Hollywood Reporter is now reporting that Stranger Things Season 5 scores Netflix's second biggest premiere week ever and in the largest for any English language film. Only Season 2 of Squid Games had a better opening in the streamer's internal measurement.
Wow.
So if you take all the English language stuff that Netflix has ever done, Stranger Things Season 5 premiere is the biggest. Now I'm going to read a little bit of what their report says here. Hollywood Reporter says, the final season of Stranger Things roared to its... Let's bring this up on screen, Jonathan. Roared to its best opening week ever and the second biggest premiere of any Netflix original series. The first 4 episodes of Stranger Things 5 racked up 59.6 million views worldwide in the 5 days after the November 26th premiere, according to Netflix first-party data. That's the highest opening week total to date for any English language series on the streamer, passing the 50.1 million views for season 1 of Wednesday in November of 2022. The second among shows in all languages, behind only the 68 million views for season 2 of Squid Game in its first week. Rob, look, we've been talking about Stranger Things season 5 leading up to its premiere. The fact that this thing has been around now for a decade, the fact that it is, I think, easy to say the most, I would call Stranger Things the signature hit of Netflix. This is Netflix's signature show, I think. Yeah. They may like that, they may not like that, but I think it's true. I think it's their signature show that's coming to an end. But, you know, some people might have thought, understandably so, that the years layoff between season 4 and season 5, the awkwardness of how old these kids are now. Because listen, man, I started watching season 5, episode 1. I'm like, this just looks like a different cast. These kids, they all look so different now. Will is taller than his mom now. All that kind of stuff. And yet these numbers just kind of re-emphasize just how big of a show this is, just how much of a cultural imprint it has had, just how much people have been waiting for this thing to come out, and to be the biggest English language saying teenager on Stranger Things season 5. That's great. This is huge. So Rob, I expect it to be huge. I don't know that I was expecting to hear biggest English language launch ever. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I'm not surprised by it for the various reasons you just laid out. I mean, it's their signature show. It's a generation show. You know, this is a big deal. Heck, they have these weird Stranger Things Doritos at the supermarket where you got 2 different flavors. It's Collision or something. And I mean, it's Stranger Things everywhere. And you know, I think it's great. I think it's exciting. I love seeing that people are inspired by new. What I love about this, John, is it's a new IP that was unique to the modern age. You know, I hadn't really thought about this as a franchise, but Stranger Things is a franchise. There is a Lego set that's coming out with, I guess, Vecna's house or whatever. That's coming out too, which actually looks like a great Lego set if you like Lego. But yeah, I think it's great. It's terrific. I love it. Awesome. It should do. I hope it sticks the landing.
Well, again, they got everybody in the world watching it, and too bad, Netflix, you lost the Duffer Brothers because they're going over to Paramount once this thing's done. So, but hey, they still own Stranger Things. They might be looking at doing more Stranger Things stuff now. Anyway, guys, whatever you think about these numbers, I think they're pretty damn impressive. Jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, observation, or question you'd like to send in, go ahead and use the super chat feature in the live chat. You got to be watching the show live and able to do that. And we'll turn off the super chat features in just a few minutes, but you still have time to send some in. But before we do, we got to do two things. One is bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow.
You will see me tomorrow.
And we are also going to take a quick moment here to thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Aura. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Aura. Guys, if you are anything like me, you swear every year you're going to be on top of your Christmas shopping, and then suddenly it's December 20th, the shelves are empty, and you're standing around in Target asking yourself, does my aunt even like candles? But this year, I am not doing that because of Aura Frames. It's completely saved me. See, I always struggled with what to get people in my life, but this year I'm going to give out a couple of Aura Frames, and it's hands down the most personal, meaningful gift that I can possibly give. And here's the best part. Aura lets you upload unlimited photos and videos. Plus, the frame comes in a premium gift box with no price tag, so it feels like a classy, well thought out gift, even if you bought it last minute. Guys, you can't gift wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code CAMPEA at the checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code Campea. This deal is exclusive to our listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in on time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning that we sent you at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. And thank you to our friends at Aura for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. We've got two of them. I love these things. Ann uses them all the time.
They're great.
They're great. All right, guys. With that all down, let's do the important stuff now and get to your live comments and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
Oh, also, X-Men Superfan has given another 5
you coming hot. Thank you, X-Men Superfan, again for that. That's awesome.
So we got first up, excuse me, AL. Since 2021, I've watched one Ralph Fiennes movie every November. So Harry Potter 8, The Menu, Prince of Egypt, Conclave, and Kingsman. What would be a good one for next year? Was it The English Patient? Is Ralph
English?
Fiennes?
I mean, that's the one that put him on the map,
Yeah.
right? And that's the one I think that got him his first Academy Award nomination. Ralph Fiennes, by the way, is still the actor who I consider to be the greatest actor in the world that does not have an Oscar. That's, again, it was Gary Oldman for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he got his for playing Winston Churchill. And ever since then, I think it's Ralph Fiennes. I think it's still to this day. So yeah, English Patient, that's kind of his signature movie in many ways. All right, what's next?
X-Men Superfan says, is it wrong that I think Sinners is a better movie than One Battle After Another? No.
No, I think there's lots of people who feel that way. I do too. Right, as of right now, Sinners is still my favorite film of the year. Now, because I've been on the road, I have not yet seen what's the Brendan Fraser one called? The Family. No, what's the name of the new Brendan Fraser movie?
Oh, Rental Family.
Rental Family. Yeah. Because I've been on the road, I haven't seen Rental Family, and I obviously have not yet seen Marty Supreme. But as of right now, yeah, I think Sinners right now is still my pick for best film of the year. And listen, I really like One Battle After Another. I do, but I give Sinners the edge over it myself personally. All right, what's next?
Okay, Mike Vetter says the Megan spinoff Soulmate is 5.5 weeks from release and not even a teaser. Is that a red flag? Also, will the mixed reception of Megan 2 along with it have a similar premise to Companion? Make it dead on arrival. Soulmate, I haven't heard of Soulmate.
Well, they showed us a preview for Soulmate at CinemaCon. I totally forgot about it. I don't believe it's a spinoff from Megan. I mean, it's very Megan-like, but I don't think it's a Megan spinoff. I mean, listen, I could be totally wrong about that. I'm not a world-renowned expert on all things Soulmate. It really reminds me more of, what was that one with Jack Quaid that like was one of Rob's favorite films of the year?
Yeah, that was Companion.
Companion, right. It reminds me more of Companion. It definitely feels like Companion and Megan had a baby.
Right.
But is it a spinoff?
I'm not seeing anything in its synopsis that it's a spinoff.
Yeah, I have seen no marketing for it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're pulling it from the release schedule and maybe moving it somewhere else. But I'll keep my eye open for it.
All right, we got Callum. Fire Night Wing gave support, so thank you. And then Callum says, "Hey, Rob's not here. Have you watched the new Knives Out yet? Have you watched the new Knives Out yet?"
No, I've been on the road for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to see it
Forgot
yet.
about that little detail.
Yeah.
Okay. X-Men Superfan says, "What performance is more legendary in your or your favorite? Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard or Betty Davis in All About Eve? Both of them released the same year." I mean, Sunset Boulevard really sticks out to me.
I mean, there's a reason that is a movie that still resonates today.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, All About Eve is incredible, but when you talk to a lot of people, like, for example, like even when I do the John Williams concerts still, even though John Williams himself doesn't do them anymore,
Right.
at a number of them, they'll still do Sunset. They'll still do that and do like full musical, because it's just, and by the way, I think that was a more influential film. I think you see more shades of that movie in today's filmmaking than say All About Eve. Look, again, not taking anything away from either of them,
Sure.
but I'll go Sunset.
Yeah, me too. Harv's K. Hey, Rob, any Black Friday Blu-ray pickups? I missed the Criterion 50% off sale, but got that Jackie Chan Project A collection. I'm not sure if he hasn't mentioned it.
Yeah, he hasn't mentioned it, and I can't answer that because I haven't bought physical media in over 10 years. So there's that. All right, what's next?
X-Men says, "Do you think Leonardo DiCaprio is in the same tier as Meryl Streep and Daniel Day-Lewis?"
No.
But that doesn't mean he's not incredible.
Doesn't mean he's not great, and he's not one of the best actors working today and all that kind of stuff. But there's just it's like saying who's a great quarterback right now. Okay, yeah. Let's go with Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. He is absolutely one of the best quarterbacks in the world right now. But he's not in the same discussion of Tom Brady. He's not in the same discussion. That's not taking anything away from Josh Allen at all. But he's not in that same conversation. Leonardo DiCaprio is truly one of the best actors in the world today. But he is not in the conversation with Daniel Day-Lewis. He got to work with Daniel Day-Lewis, by the way, in the Gangs of New York. But it's just Daniel, and that's no knock on Leo at all. Nobody is on Daniel Day-Lewis's level. No one. He is the Bret Hart of acting. He's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the excellence of execution. He's the best. And Meryl Streep on the female side, that's her. She's the street monster. Come back and talk to us once, Leo's got like multiple Oscars, but yeah, no, it's just not on the same level. And again, that is no knock on Leonardo DiCaprio at all. All right, what's next?
And then X-Men also asks thoughts on Adele's theme for Skyfall. I loved it because it was a throwback to the old. You remember Skyfall?
Yeah. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, I don't know if it quite exists today the way it used to, but it used to be. Every time a new James Bond movie was coming out, the question was, what's going to be the big song?
Yeah.
What's going to be the big song? By the way, that one Billie Eilish one was great too. Duran Duran did. I mean, listen, it's always been a big thing, but yes, the Adele one was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Right,
Papa Gino says, "Hey John, it's Gino. I wore the green lei at the Wild Orlando meetup.
I remember that.
Thanks for signing the first question. I asked you from 2014. Meeting you was an honor.
I remember. Yeah. So this
he like
dude
printed
showed
out,
up,
or
he literally got a printout.
Okay.
Of when I answered one of his questions on one of our shows.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was still AMC, if it was Collider by that point.
Might have been
And
mailbag
he brought
too.
it printed out and got me to autograph it. It was
Wow.
really cool. The Orlando thing. The one downside about our Orlando meetup is that Disney Springs, where the theater was located, didn't want us to have a big group gathered outside. And they initially told me we had to disperse. And then they softened a little bit and said, can you just get through this quickly? And so we did. So I didn't have much time to talk to everybody, but I did stay for everybody, and we got at least a picture with everybody, but we had to keep it pretty quick. That was unfortunate, but at least we were able to do that. All right, what's next?
All right. X-Men says, I think the changes reveal that both the Waynes and the L's in Batman and Superman movies is more of a social response to not believing that rich can be kind.
No, listen, forever in literature, TV shows, movies, there have always been rich good guys. I mean, even just go back to Zorro, stuff like that. So I don't like, if the Waynes and the L's and that kind of stuff were unique, the Tony Starks, if they were unique, like, oh wow, we've never had a rich good guy before. I mean, we've had a lot of rich villains, yes, but we've never had rich good guys. No. Literature, Hollywood has been littered and peppered with those.
And also the Waynes weren't. I gotta get your shot in there. The Waynes weren't considered bad. It was also revealed later that he was just trying to cover up the fact that his wife was sick, and then those mobsters went and made that murder. That was against his wishes, remember? And then he got sucked into that, his father. So it got dicey, but he wasn't putting out kill orders.
Well, that's just from the Robert Pattinson version of it, though, too. So, I think just traditionally, it's really nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
All right, Wayne says, "Hey, wait, where? Oh yeah, hey John, did you try Dispatch on your PlayStation Portal?"
You know what's funny? Before I hit the road, the day before I left for this leg of the movie meetup, I bought Dispatch. But then something happened. Anne got her hands on the PlayStation Portal. And she wanted to play Cyberpunk 2070 or whatever they call it, 2077.
Yeah.
She wanted to play that. So I have not been able to touch my PlayStation Portal. I will get on it now that I'm home. I probably won't do it on the PlayStation Portable. I'll probably do it on the PlayStation itself. But yeah, I'll get around to that. But I have not had the chance to do it yet, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Brandon Bauer says Netflix letting theaters keep 100% of ticket sales for Stranger Things is a nice gesture, and then theaters making them concession vouchers is great.
Except that they're not charging for tickets.
Right.
There might be some, like I think I heard that in Canada, Cineplex is charging something for the tickets, but like AMC is not charging anything for the tickets.
Yeah.
So they're not keeping anything because there's nothing to keep.
Yeah, what they're selling is concession.
It's concession stands.
It's almost like if you go to a comedy place and they say it's a 2-drink minimum, so you have to pay that at the door. You know what I mean?
But there's nothing for Netflix to take from the ticket sale because the ticket sale is technically zero.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. All right, what's next?
We got Taki who says James Cameron's. I'm going to shift this over just a smidge. James Cameron became king of Hollywood because he always uses VFX as a tool, not a crutch, to enhance his story and characters, not substitute them.
Here's the problem, Taki, is I think it comes off that way because the movies are good. I think there have been many films where the director used VFX as a tool, not a crutch, but the movie didn't turn out good. And so people see good visual effects and go, you just try to use it as a crutch. Every filmmaker tries to make a good movie. Every filmmaker goes into it. Like I remember Erin Cummings said this great thing once. It's always stuck with me. She said, every time you get a role, and this is true of directors too, every time you get a movie greenlit, you start practicing your Oscar acceptance speech in the mirror every morning. Like they all try to do great stuff with it. But if the movie turns out good, then we say, they use the visual effects as a tool, not as a crutch. But if the movie turns out bad, then we say, even if it's the exact same visual effects, they'll go, they just try to use it as a crutch. Yeah, I don't know that I really buy that. I think there are times when that criticism is valid. There are times. Like George Lucas making the prequel movies was just, listen, you know me, I'm always going to have an altar that I burn incense to the image of George Lucas for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, when it came to the prequels, that was just him because he wanted to play with the new visual effects tools. That was really it. He saw what Steven Spielberg did with Jurassic Park, and he was like, "Okay, I can do this now. Now I can make the movies I want. Now I want to play with these toys." So there might have been some of that there, but I think for the most part, directors really do try just to make the best movie they can, and if they can use great visual effects, great. And when the movie turns out bad, we say they use the visual effects as a crutch. And if the movie turns out good, we say, they just use it as a tool. When really, I don't think there was a difference in their motivation. It's just that some movies turn out better than others. All right, what's next?
Isaac Edwards gives us a $50 tip, or super chat.
Oh, thank you so much, Isaac. Appreciate that, man. That's incredibly generous of you, dude.
Thank you. Hey guys, been a viewer for a while now, and just wanted to say thank you for getting me through some hard times. Though I do have a question: is film school worth all the student debt?
Yeah, I mean, look, my personal position on this, and don't take this as somebody who's some world-renowned expert on the matter. I'm just a film fan. That's all I am. So take this for what it's worth. If you have dreams of making in the film industry, well, if you're serious, do the things that better position you for success. And being a film school grad does not guarantee anything, but it puts you in a better position for success. It does not guarantee success. Just as not going to film school doesn't guarantee you won't have success.
Right.
But if you want to look at the numbers, look, I've said this before. Back when I was running AMC and Collider and all that kind of stuff, when we'd be hiring and I was looking at resumes, if two resumes looked really good, but one of them had a journalism degree and the other one didn't,
right,
then I'm going with the one who had the journalism degree. Not that that's the be all end all. Like if one person was clearly better than the other,
sure,
then I'd go with that person. But if I was looking at two resumes and they both looked like really good candidates and they were both good choices, but one of them had the journalism degree, I'm going with that. I just think having that film degree it just gives you a leg up.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it also tells me you're serious about it. Like, listen, the reality is this. Most people in the world, I want to be a big movie success person, whether it's directing, producing, acting, whatever. But I don't want to do any of the hard things that need to be done to get me there. So I don't want to go to film school. I don't want to have to work through debt. I don't want to have to put in that kind of time and that kind of effort and that kind of like life commitment when it might not work out. Everything you just said is true. Yeah, but is this really your dream? Are you willing to work for it? Are you willing to risk for it? Again, for some people, it's wiser than others, but ultimately at the end of the day, when people ask me if I think pursuing their dreams in film should include going to film school, my personal answer is always going to be yes.
I mean, you're also setting up a network of people who
Yep.
are...
100% it does. Absolutely it does.
And filmmakers reach out to those people.
But I mean, just for example, who does almost all of Ryan Coogler's music? Mandalorian Boy. Not Gorgonson.
Geez, now I'm drawing a blank.
Freezing on his name. Anyway, who did his Black Panther music? He did, right? Guess what? They were roommates in school.
Right.
And so absolutely. Ludwig Göransson. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Him and Coogler were roommates in school. So absolutely. It also creates built-in inherent connections. Yep. So that's good too. All right. What's next?
Brandon Bauer says, what did you think of Epic? Did you try Helio Bar?
Oh, Epic Universe.
Yeah. What was your favorite park? Because you went to...
Yeah, I had a blast. I thought it was great. The How to Train Your Dragon World was amazing. I couldn't believe, and their Super Nintendo World was much bigger than the one here in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, because they had to fit us in a small space here.
Yeah, I mean, it was like double the size.
Yeah.
It was great. The Wizarding World was insanely good. The Monster Universe was insanely... I had a really good time at it. I thought it was great.
Cool. X-Men says, Superfan says, a friend of mine said that you can't find a more accurate Joker than Cesar Romero, but you would be hated to find a funnier one, as in comedy. Do you think he's onto something? Well, you don't want to go too kitschy these days.
No,
but also what's accurate?
Yeah, accurate to what? Accurate to the 1960s Joker? Absolutely. Accurate to the Injustice Gods Among Us Joker? No. No. So, I mean, it really, that's the whole thing too when it comes to comic book fans. Like, it's like, oh, well, this Superman is more accurate. Well, accurate to what? There have been many iterations of Superman in the comics and without. And so it really all depends on what you're looking for. It's like, was Cesar Romero's Joker really similar to the one they had in the 60s? Yeah. Is it similar to the modern one? Not really. So yeah, anyway, that's just my take on it. All right, what's next?
HV3 says, if you ever come to Minnesota to do your movie meetups, I suggest the Alamo in Woodbury, but the more practical one probably is the Rosedale AMC 14.
I don't know if I'll get to Minnesota. I'll be honest with you. But I may. No, I definitely wouldn't be in the winter months. I'm not going to Minnesota in the winter months.
No.
By the way, I used to love watching the Minnesota North Stars. They had Dino Ciccarelli, was one of my favorite hockey players ever. But hopefully I'll be able to get there sometime.
Kind of answer this, but Fire Nightwing says, I hope you like the Epic Freestyle Cup pin and medallion. What were your thoughts on Epic Universe?
Again, loved it. By the way, I remember, so somebody came up, this person probably, is a employee at Epic Universe. And apparently, if I'm understanding this right, when they opened the park, all the employees got this commemorative medallion, this Epic Universe medallion, which is beautiful. And he gave me his.
Wow. That's cool.
And it's gorgeous. And I also got this big Epic Universe that's kind of like the Stanley Cup in shape and form, but it's got all the Epic Universe branding on it. That's pretty damn cool. I can't wait to try it out. All right, what's next?
We've got Alex Mercer who says, hey, John, sorry I couldn't make it to the movie meetup in Orlando. Really wanted to, but had to work that day and had a terrible migraine. Best wishes, though. Don't
worry about it, man. We were full. I can't get over just how big that was. As a matter of fact, give me a second here. I'm going to see if I can find it. I'm not 100% sure I can. Yeah, see if you bring this up. So this is video from a balcony of somebody up in a balcony looking down on the movie meetup afterwards outside of the theater. It was crazy. It was absolutely amazing. The folks in Orlando just made me feel so special and so welcome. And it was just one of our absolute best nights of the movie meetups. It was a really incredible time. So thank you again to everybody in Austin and Dallas and obviously in Orlando. All right, what's next?
Astro Zombies, it was great seeing you at the Orlando meetup. The Disney security limiting the time to meet you was unfortunate, but understandable.
Yeah. And I remember when the Disney guy came up and said, you can't be doing this and all that kind of stuff. And they limited how much time we had. The first thing I said to our crowd was, guys, this is understandable. Don't get upset at them. Even though inside I was a little upset, but I'm like, don't be upset at them. They're just trying to make it safe for everybody, blah, blah. And we did have to go faster at the Orlando one as a result. But hey, you know what? They had the right, if they wanted to just say, disperse right now. Y'all got to depart. They could have said that. They would have been well within the rights to do that. But instead, they cut us some slack. They said, just try to go through it really quickly if you can. And we did, and we got through everybody, and it was still an overall really, really great night. All right, what's next?
Amin says, out of these frontrunners, who's your pick for Best Supporting Actress this year? Teyana Taylor for One Battle, Madigan for Weapons, or Ariana Grande?
I can't believe I'm saying it, but you know what? Bring that up again.
Okay.
I would say Ariana Grande. They're not going to run her for Best Supporting Actress. They're going to run her for lead. They're going to run Ariana Grande for lead. And I got to say this, she's got a shot. I'm not saying she's the favorite, but in as much that I didn't like Wicked for Good as much as I liked the first one, Ariana Grande's performance was, I don't know how you do one any better. I really don't. I don't know how you play that role better than the way she played it. It was really quite impressive. And again, I'm not the biggest Ariana Grande fan in the world, but that was really impressive. You know, bring it up again. When you're looking at One Battle After Another,
I just lost it.
You're talking about a bigger role than the one in Weapons. But the thing is, sometimes when you're talking about Best Supporting, you're talking about the performer that made, in a smaller amount of time, that impact. That's why Dame Judi Dench won for Shakespeare in Love. That was Judi Dench, right? Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, I believe so.
Even though it was a very small part. Some
just
people,
minutes.
Yeah, some people think it was too small for even best supporting, but it was about the impact that they made in that little time on screen. When you look at the character and weapons, that concentrated impact, I might go that way on that. Anyway. All right, what's next?
X-Men says, what do you prefer, musical comedy or musical tragedy?
I
mean,
personally prefer, listen, a great musical tragedy can be great, but if I'm being honest, I like give me Little Shop of Horrors, give me musical comedy. That, again, that's not to say that there aren't musical tragedies that can't be brilliant and wonderful and that I love, but yeah, if you're asking me to pick one or the other, if you say right now you can spend the afternoon watching a musical tragedy or a musical comedy,
yeah, what's easier?
I'll probably walk through the door with the musical comedy.
Sure. Well, Les Mis is incredible. Right?
Oh my God, Les Mis. Still my all-time favorite stage show. Les Mis is still my all-time favorite stage show. All right, what's next?
Jamie Sundays, Thomas Newman will be conducting the news score for Sean Levy, confirmed by him on a podcast.
Yep.
It's not going to be remixes of Williams' cues. It may be inspired by some of that. Levy on Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, how many Oscar nominations does this dude have? The answer is a lot.
Yeah.
Many Oscar nominations, many Oscar nominee he has. Now, when I first saw the headline, it's like Sean Levy announces the composer for his new Star Wars movie and has fans thrilled. I'm like, don't tell me John Williams is going to come out of retirement to do this. It was not, but this was a great pick, and I'm looking forward to hearing what they put together. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Tyler Folsom says, Twilight Boy here. I had a great time at the Orlando meetup. Even though I hated Wicked 2, I can safely say you were taller than I thought.
That is easily the number one comment that I get at all the movie meetups. And I don't know why. I don't know why the assumption is that I'm like 5'5". I maybe it's just because people only ever see me from
sitting. Maybe?
Yeah, sitting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I constantly get it every movie meetup. Man, you're bigger than I thought. But it is what it is. Thank you for coming to the Orlando meetup. It was a great night.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right,
man,
what's next?
Schnepp looked tall sitting, and then he was still impressively tall.
Schnepp was a giant.
He was still impressively tall.
Yeah, Schnepp was just so larger than life,
Yeah.
like literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Kevin Rubio, when the original casting for She-Hulk went out, they were looking for an Allison Brie type. Why not just cast her? I mean, is she available? Does she want to do it?
Sorry, what was I missed it? What was that?
He said when the original casting for She-Hulk went out, it said that they were looking for an Allison Brie type.
Yeah, I remember that I remember Allison Brie, who we're gonna see up in the new Masters of the Universe movie playing Eva Lynn. I remember she was on some talk show and like they're looking for an Allison Brie type, and Allison Brie was like, like here I am. Like that. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. I don't know what the story behind it is. I don't know why they didn't just pick up the phone and call Allison Brie, but I always thought that was one of the more funny stories. All right, what's next?
X-Men Superfan says we want Madison and Wong, the only good thing to come out of that show. A lot of people want Madison and Wong.
I don't think it's the only. Listen, as somebody who was very disappointed in that show, I don't think it was the only good thing in it. It had its upsides. It's just they were completely outnumbered by the massive amount of downsides. But Allison with what was it? 2 Y's and a something, but not where you think.
Right.
Anyway, I have it happens once in a while in a movie or show where there will be an element or a character that I find very annoying at first. And then by the end of that movie or show, I'm totally on board with it. Doesn't happen often, but it happens every once in a while. I could not have had a stronger eye roll when the Allison character, or Madison character, when the Madison character
when she first showed up? Dude.
First showed up and started talking, I'm like, oh, please don't do one of these characters in this. But by the end of it,
yeah,
I was like writing letters. Give me a Wong and Madison show. I was totally, I hated that character at first. And somehow, some way, they totally got me on board with it. And I just The dynamic between Madison and Wong, I thought, was awesome. I could easily have watched a series of them. Easily could have watched it. All right, what's next?
M. Jada says season 1 of Tim Robinson's Chair Company, 9 out of 10. I am pretty much caught up with that now, finally, over the week.
I still know nothing about it.
It's a wild show, man. It is weird, of course.
I just know that I opened up my Google Chrome, and one of the big suggested shows was The Chair Company. I'm like, what the hell is that? That day on our show, somebody wrote in, John, have you been watching The Chair Company? I'm like, I didn't even hear about this till earlier today. So I still know absolutely nothing about the show. I don't know the premise. I don't know anything about it at all. But everybody keeps telling me I got to watch. You've been watching it?
Yeah, I'm caught up now.
Is it good?
It's good. It's not going to be for everyone. It's a wild show, man. But the performances in it are kind of off the hook, man. It's kind of crazy. It's great.
All right. What's next?
All right. Sorry, I just bumped this. There's okay. Chance Hawkins, Megaplex in Utah has been doing Popcorn Pass for years.
Yeah, when we did the Megaplex in Salt Lake City for our movie meetup, had a great night there, by the way. I believe we watched Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers at that one. Great night. And I think I remember one of the people telling me that you could buy like an annual popcorn pass there, which is great. And I'm glad AMC is picking up on that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, hate it or love it, movie reviews. Jeremiah the Rebel is saying, thank you, John, for coming to Orlando meeting. Meeting you was a highlight of my year. Thank you again for inspiring me.
I still don't know what to do with that. When people tell me stuff like that, like this was the highlight of my week or my month or my year or whatever, I in all honesty, I still don't know what to do with that because that's wild to me. And I say that with all gratitude, like what an honor it is for me that you as somebody would say something like that. Like that's an incredibly positive impact you've had on me. And thank you so much for that. I still don't know how to wrap my head around that. Like even when I looked at that video, when somebody sent me that video on Instagram of the crowd of people around, and God, man, seriously, in Orlando, and this has happened in a couple of other theaters, walking into the theater and almost everybody's already seating and like people start cheering. And I don't know what to do with that. I really don't. I'm a nobody who sits in a little converter garage and sits in front of a little camera and make YouTube videos. But it's amazing to me. It's humbling to me. And it makes a real positive. You make me feel really special. So thank you for that very much. All right. What's next?
Anthony C says, hey, John, just curious. Are you certain theaters? Yes, we're certain. Take 1/3 of box office revenue. I've been reading more. It's along 50%. Can you clarify?
Yeah, you're reading from people who don't work with movie theater chains. Look, I bring this up every single time. I worked with AMC, and part of my job was several times a year, I would have to fly to Kansas and have meetings, days-long meetings at headquarters at AMC, where I meet all the people in charge of AMC and all the people who run the different departments. And the way they clearly communicated it to me, despite what you may read anywhere else, I'm simply telling you what directly comes from the movie theater. Okay? It's not coming from me. I'm just telling you what I was told. Is that the percentage of money that is split up and divvied between the movie theaters and the distributors changes from day to day, week to week. For example, the movie studios will take much more money during its opening weekend and opening week. And then as the longer that the movie's in the theater, the scale starts to shift towards the movie theaters. So by the end of a movie's run, the movie theaters might even be keeping more of the ticket money than the distributor did. But much fewer people go to see the movies after it's already been in theaters for a couple of weeks. Like the movie makes the majority of its money most of the time in its first few weeks. And the way it was ultimately summed up to me by the executive at AMC is, when it's all said and done, by the end of it, it basically works out to, we get to keep about 1/3. Like once you do all the math and once you go through the sliding scale and length of the run and all that kind of stuff, generally speaking, It works out to be about 1/3 comes to us, 2/3 go to the distributor. Now, that won't be the exact scale on opening weekend, and that won't be the exact scale in week 5. But once you put it all together, it ultimately breaks down to they keep 2/3, we keep 1/3. So everybody, I know I've seen it too. Everybody else is writing there 50%, 50%, 50%. But none of those people work at the movie theaters. None of those people have worked with the executives of the movie theater chains. And I'm simply telling you what I have been told. That's all. I'm just telling you what I've been told by the executive in charge of this shit at AMC at the time. So take that for what it's worth. All right, what's next?
X-Men Superfan says, why are there so many people that don't understand Wicked is popular fan fiction? They didn't really market it that way. I didn't know for a long time. I just thought this was like a Maleficent thing where it's like, oh, the bad guy's the good guy.
Yeah, like it's not even fan fiction. What I call it's a what if.
It's an alternate reality.
Yeah, think of it in DC terms or Marvel terms. It's a what if story. That's what it is. It's a what if story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actually Wizard of Oz.
Right.
It's a what if, like the world of Wizard of Oz. It's much like Red Sun. For those of you who know the comic book Red Sun. If you don't know the comic book Red Sun, what it is, it's the same DC universe, but what if instead of Kal-El's little baby pod shot off from Krypton, instead of landing in a farm field in Kansas, what if his pod landed in Russia?
Right.
What would Superman be today had he landed in Russia? So it's not the actual Superman, it's a what if. And that's what Wicked is. It's what if. What if Elphaba was actually a good person? And how would that, and what if the wizard wasn't just some kind of well-meaning buffoon, but what if he was actually an antagonistic bad guy? It's not changing Wizard of Oz. It's a what if story of Wizard of Oz. All right. What's next?
X-Men follows up, thoughts on Audrey Hepburn as an actress. I mean, I think of her nowadays more just for what she did humanitarian wise.
Roman Holiday,
And,
My
yeah, of
Fair
course.
Lady, Breakfast at Tiffany's. I mean, she's just one of those. Look, there's a collection of 5, 6, or 7 names from that era that represent the era. That's how big they were. They represent an entire era. And Audrey Hepburn was clearly one of those.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Joe Star Gaming. Regal had Super Savers January 2025. It's $50 for half larger popcorn and large drink for the whole year. So they include, it's more, but they include the drink. That's cool.
I would buy that.
I would buy that too, because I don't ever just get popcorn and nothing to drink. That's psychotic.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Would I pay the extra $20 to have my large drink included in that? 100%. 100% I would. Absolutely. That's a great, again, that doesn't take away from how great the AMC deal is. That's still a great deal. Do I like $50 for getting half price off your popcorn and your soda more? Yeah, I'd probably take that too.
And you know,
I'd probably take that.
What's funny? It's an investment because like now it would guarantee that every time I went, I'm going to take advantage of that deal.
Yeah, 1,000%. And knowing that I'm going to get the average person, knowing that they're going to get a half price soda and half price popcorn, if they were on the fence about going to the movies that night, guess what? Now they're going to go to the movies that night. I might as well go. I'm going to get half price soft drink and popcorn, so let's go. So it's a good move for everybody. All right, what's next?
All right. X-Men Superfan, did you watch all of The Crown? I only watched through season 5, but do you think the first 3 or 4 episodes of season 6 of The Crown treated Princess Diana's last days in passing with the respect it deserved?
Never watched season 6.
I didn't get
I'm like you. I listen, I really liked The Crown. I really did. But I just tapped out after a while. I don't remember if it was in season 4 or in season 5.
It was the season Diana was introduced. I got through that entire season, and then there was so many other things.
You know what? I didn't get through that entire season.
Okay.
I remember I saw the one episode. It was a great scene where William goes and has it out with his dad, with Prince Charles. Prince Charles it's after the death of his mom, and Prince Charles is like in a garden or something, just gardening, and William's supposed to be off at school, but he shows up to talk to his dad, and it's a powerful scene. It's a great scene. But I really didn't see most of that season, so I don't know. I really thought the show was very good. I just kind of was, okay, I'm done with it now.
Yeah.
At some point, I just kind of tapped out. All right, what's next?
Corey says, do you think landing the introduction of the X-Men in the MCU is a make or break moment for restoring audience confidence and excitement in the universe going forward?
No. Now, don't misinterpret that of me saying it's not important.
Right.
But do I believe how they introduce the X-Men is a make or break? I don't. I think even if you fumble the ball a little bit on the introduction, I think you can recover from that. It's not like the same of this first trailer for Doomsday. I think it's make or break for the movie. I really do. But like with the introduction of the X-Men, it's important, yes. But I think if they fumble it, like not completely botch it, but if they fumble it a little bit, I think that's something they can recover from and build it back up. All right, what's next?
Duck says, I watched The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. It was great. I love the gothic, eerie vibe and boldly has children taking their own lives. I never saw that. That was back in 2012. Woman in Black. Because there are horns.
I'm thinking of a different movie. What? Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of The Woman in the Yard.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, God, did I see The Woman in Black? I don't know that I did. Like when I think of that era of Daniel Radcliffe, I'm thinking of like Horns.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. Yeah.
But I don't know. If I did see Woman in Black, I don't remember it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Whoops. C. Patty. What do you think of James Cameron's co-directing a concert film with Billie Eilish? He did camera work tailored for a 3D concert theater experience.
I think it's much ado about nothing, but it's definitely interesting.
Right.
It's absolute. Whenever you're getting like a top-notch director doing something like that, I think that's really fascinating. Do I think it's going to fundamentally change the experience of it? No, it'll be additive, but I don't think it'll fundamentally change it. But I think it's a really interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
X-Men says, when you said suitors for Warner Brothers, I was reminded of the bit in Easy A with Emma Stone about the gentleman caller.
By the way, that's an underappreciated movie.
Yeah, Easy A.
Yeah, that's the movie to me that I was like, this girl's legit. That, I mean, obviously she's a multi-Oscar winning actress, all that kind of, but that was the one to me that I went, okay, this girl's really good. Like I liked her in a couple other things, but that was the one for me that I thought she was really good. It's kind of overlooked. Right, what's next?
Jake Kamara says, thoughts on Kevin Spacey living in Airbnbs?
By the way, he clarified that a little bit. Like, so he doesn't own a home, but he's not homeless.
Right.
You know, as the story goes, and he kind of clarified that a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't like, listen, it doesn't matter how much money you've had. He's had, for good reasons or bad, he's not had much work. And the work he's had has been much smaller scale than what he's been used to. And it's been financially tough for the guy and all that kind of stuff. So, but again, it's not like he's broke. Like he's got the money to stay in Airbnbs. He's got the money to stay in hotels. He's not homeless, but it's not really surprising. Like you go, however many years the Kevin Spacey controversy came up again, it's been like 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, maybe more. You go that long without making an income, at some point it's going to affect you. Yeah. All right. What's next?
We got X-Men who said he asked Rob this and he gave a great answer, but wanted to know your take on Bridges of Madison County. We talk about the street monster.
It's a classic.
And Clint Eastwood. Come on.
I mean, I don't even necessarily think it's one of Eastwood's best, but it's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got, you know what it is? It's one of the movies that there's a lot of movies out there that try to pull on the heartstrings. It's one of the better films at doing that. Like really, really well with the different scenarios and everything. So it works for me great. All right, what's next?
Monkey Tongue says, so despite Avatar films simply not opening up strong or seeming to have much hype, how is it that these films are so insanely successful?
Yeah, listen, the original Avatar film, biggest film in history, had a $77 million opening weekend. Avatar 2, in the top 4 of the highest grossing films of all time, had a $135 million opening, which is really good, but it's not what you think. They're projecting right now that Avatar Fire and Ash is going to have like a $115 million opening, which is good, but doesn't sound worth. But that's just the pattern of Avatar films. I mean, these movies just have this way of coming out and blowing people away with the experience. I don't care if you didn't like it. That's fine. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. It's all subjective. But you're going to have to just accept that the vast majority of people on the planet watch those movies and were blown away by them. So they would go back again and they would tell their friends about it and they would drag their friends to come see it. Then they go get their sisters and bring their sisters to go see it. And it just snowballed. And it did it for the first Avatar. It did it for the second Avatar. We'll see if it does it for the third. All right. What's next?
Zarian the Barbarian. Remember that Spawn movie that's supposedly being made by Todd McFarlane? Me neither.
Yeah. Remember when they first announced it 5-6 years ago, and I said this is never going to happen?
Yeah.
But Jamie Foxx said he's going to do it. I said, I don't care. This movie's not going to happen.
No one even knows who Spawn is. Just us comic nerds.
But then I think Mark Ruffalo, was it Mark Ruffalo then also signed up for it? It was either Mark Ruffalo or wasn't Colin Farrell. Might have been Mark Ruffalo. Let's go with Mark Ruffalo.
Attached.
Was the second one. And I said, I don't care. It's not going to happen. Because part of the thing was that McFarlane was insisting
on directing
that he was going to direct it himself. And I remember the day that announcement came out, I said, no studio is going to put up $80 million and let some guy do it as a vanity project. Mm-hmm. You have no experience directing. You don't know the first thing about directing. Why on earth would we invest, put $80 million and then the most important decision, who's going to direct it? You're going to say you? I said, it's never going to happen. And while in recent years, I think McFarlane has softened on that and said, I'd be opening if we got the right director. I think that whole first stance just derailed the whole thing. I still, listen, could it still happen? Of course it could. It could. But if I had to bet $5 on it, I'm going to say the same thing I said 5 years ago, man. I don't think this thing's ever going to happen. And so far, I've been right so far. But I still don't see that changing or turning around. No. By the way, somebody pointing out, it wasn't Mark Ruffalo. I knew that wasn't quite right, but it was Jeremy Renner.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was another Avenger. It was Jeremy Renner.
There you go.
All right,
got two more here. Josh Molinari says, most anticipated movie of 26, mine's Odyssey or Dune 3. I mean, first in line is going to be in March, which is Project Hail Mary. So that's going to be mine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Dune 3. Just because Dune 2, I still personally feel that Dune 2 is the best movie made in the last 10 years. I personally think it's that good. You may not agree, and that's fine. After that, probably Project Hail Mary, then probably Avengers, Doomsday, then probably Odyssey. They're all really close, though. Yeah. I mean, I'm dying for all four of those. Can't wait for them. All right, we got one more?
One last one.
All right, what's next?
X-Men Superfan says, thoughts on whatever happened to Baby Jane?
I can't remember it.
That was a weird one.
Which one was that again?
Well, I have to bring it up on IMDb.
Anyway, so and unfortunately, my answer is I can't remember the film off the top of my head. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us fun, interesting things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. A big thanks, of course, to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
I'll see you guys later.
My name's John Campea, guys. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.